And welcome to another edition of South Texas Crossfire. This is attorney Joe Flores reminding you to join us each and every week right here with the Lopez family, Lopez Broadcasting. Carlos Lopez, my good friend, you guessed it, the Ted Turner of South Texas Broadcasting. Bienvenidos a todos mis amigos aquí en la comunidad hispanos. Y también que no son hispanos, son mis hermanos. And I welcome all those people that are out there. I get people that watch me in county jail. I get people who watch me out in Agua Dulce and Taft. And so our audience is growing. So we welcome all our viewers, Hispanic and not so Hispanic. You all are all welcome. With me today, I have the honor of introducing somebody that I've had the privilege of being in front of in his court for a very long time. I'm getting a little bit older. That's why I'm wearing these glasses that can burn ants. And I welcome on Judge Robert Vargas. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Joe.
Still have that strong steel-like grip as I shook his hand. So, you know, I like to call you help me out here, the George Clooney of the bar. Jacob Munoz and everybody would love that. And but anyway, seriously, we're here on a very serious topic, and that is estate planning, wills, guardianships, all that stuff. And I know that you've been reaching out to the bar, but let's go ahead and use that information to educate our audience. Tell us a little bit about the message that you want to bring out.
Well, I've been a judge for 27 years.
Oh my gosh,
Joe, and so I've accumulated a lot of experience, and I've seen a lot, and I won't go into detail as to what I handle. You know what I do, but part of it is probate, okay, and when people die and how to take care of their affairs. So I've seen some things that have happened where the costs and the trouble to clean up the estate could have been avoided if certain precautionary steps had been taken beforehand, you know. And I've also experienced that myself because my parents had me at a older age in their lives, so I was the last one, and so I saw them. I was here and I saw them aging, and I see the problems that people go through with their aging parents. So I've learned a lot, and I wanted to share that, and if I can, if you'll permit me, I'd like to share some statistics to show you the background for this.
Sure.
All right. For instance, here in Corpus Christi with the last census, there was it showed that 11.5% of the population is over 65 years
Really?
of age. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Now that was in 2010. So, and if it's true that most of our young leave Corpus Christi, at least that's what they say. I don't know any statistics, but let's take them at their face value. We're an aging community.
I would agree with that, and it's also a retirement community, Judge.
Sure. And keep in mind also that I'm 60 years of age, okay? So I'm considered a baby boomer, okay? The baby boomer, that generation, is the largest generation of groups of people in the United States. When they all reach 65, there will be 70 million of them. Okay, 70 million. There's 8,000 people turning 65 every day. Okay, so we got that population. I know a lot of people that are over 70 that are working. I suspect you do too. This is one statistic that I saw in the census. There are twice as many people turning 80 years of age than 5 years of age.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean those are alarming statistics, and are you telling us that a lot of these people don't have a will?
Well, let me give you the statistics there. According to AARP and Martindale-Hubbell, 55 to 60% of adults do not have wills.
Oh.
Okay? 75% of the Hispanics, as whoever they are, do not have wills. So it means 1 out of 4 actually ever makes a will. 66% of the African American population does not have a will, which means it's 1 out of 3 that does have a will.
Oh boy, it's a dogfight when they contest that will.
So there's lots of reasons that, and if they don't have a will, they probably don't have all the ancillary documents that we know about that will make things life easier as you're aging, such as a medical power of attorney, the durable power of attorney, all those power of attorneys that you need.
Please get help on that. The medical power of attorney, durable power of attorney, it's important. Judge Robert Vargas is here with us, reminding us, ladies and gentlemen, and giving us those stats. Tell us some more info on that.
And I suspect that, well, first of all, I think everybody knows what a will is, un testamento.
Yeah.
But probably a lot of people don't know what a power of attorney is. So if, in a very simplified definition or language, it's a legal written document in which you as a person give and authorize this other person to act on your behalf for certain matters. That's a very simplified definition. Of course, you can outline all the powers, everything that you want that person to do, and what you don't want him to do.
Well, banking, medical decisions, things like that.
Exactly.
So when somebody strokes out or they get sick and they didn't make one of those, what do you see happen? I mean, they take it to court, like to take off life support?
Your wife has probably seen it. Let me ask. She has that home health.
Yes.
Which deals with the incapacitated and the aging, senior citizens, in some respect, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, I suspect that she's got to meet all these guidelines, and one of the things she probably wants to do is to protect her business and herself from being sued. So she's not going to accept the assignment or the job unless she has written authorization from someone, right? Now, if you're an elderly person and you're incapacitated, you probably can't sign off and authorize her. So she's going to want protection, and she's probably going to tell either a son or a daughter or a relative or somebody from the city or from Adult Protective Services, you need to get a guardianship, and then the guardian will sign. I suspect. I mean. If you
and that's exactly right, because the things that healthcare providers find, just like you're saying, Judge, is that people will come and they never thought about do not resuscitate orders, medical, power of attorney, durable power of attorney, and these are the messes that happen when people, and I think it's a cultural thing, some of it. ¿Me quieren matar o qué? Yeah, you guys want to kill me? I'm not going to make a will. You guys want to take all my possessions. That's what you want, right? You want me to die, And I think a lot of our culture is like that. We don't get near some people that are
You're right. Let me tell you, I've had lots of attorneys tell me that they've spoken to people that told them that, and I myself, I told you, I've seen it a lot.
There's nothing you haven't seen.
I had a teacher, the husband, and they had to do an airship because you got to clean up title, and the banks want to release the money to the proper people that they should release it, and they're not going to do it without some kind of court order. And that's where the airship comes in. It's a very expensive process because the law makes it expensive.
God bless Brenda Baker and Michael George and all those guys who do it. Oh.
But, I asked this gentleman, I said, your wife was a teacher. Why didn't you make a will? You wouldn't have gone through all this. She didn't want to make a will because she thought if she made a will, she would die. A lot of people have that. And well, the truth is, we all are going to die. All of us. That's inevitable. I'm going to die. You're going to die. Everybody. It's not a pleasant subject, but it's not necessarily an unpleasant subject either. It's the truth. And why should we be afraid of the truth? What separates the wealthy from the average person is that the wealthy recognizes and accepts the inevitability of his demise or her demise. And so they take steps to protect themselves. Many times to keep it out of prying eyes, like from the prying eyes of the court documents. So they do trusts, they do all sorts of things. Coming into court to probate their will is probably the last thing that will be done. And if it's done, we'll see very little about what is done with the estate. The average person either thinks, I don't have anything worth living a will for. I really don't want to think about it, because if I think about it, it's probably I'll be cursed and I'll die. Or it's too expensive. Well, the truth is, it's going to be more expensive for not having done that. And somebody's going to pay at the end. It's sort of like that old commercial for car maintenance. Pay now or pay later.
And that's very true. You know, on the bench, you know, when you're there, let me ask you about that, is the mechanics of it when they bring on an airship, or when there are families. Now, we've talked about it sort of one-dimensionally on paper. Let's bring it to life, the characters. It's like a drama in there for you, and you've got to be there calling a ball a strike and a ball a ball and a strike a strike. So when people come in there, there's a lot of emotion, right?
Yes.
And we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit out there why, from the emotional standpoint, talking to a lawyer about a will and a medical power of attorney and durable power of attorney, why it's important. Because once you get in the court system, explain a little bit what they're to expect if they don't make a will.
Well, let's take it through the process of aging first, because statistically, we're going to live a lot longer. Like I said, I know a lot of lawyers that are 70 years of age.
80?
That are working.
And are still
yes.
practicing.
Tufik,
my brother, Tufik Nicholas.
Yeah,
but anyway,
sure,
yeah,
sure.
he's still practicing.
I
Good
even,
attorney.
Even need him in courthouse staff.
Yes.
70. That's only 70. Okay. So you're the longer we live, the more likely that our bodily functions or something, we're going to, probably before our mind or our body may deteriorate. Or if not, our mind may deteriorate before our body. Okay? I mean, obviously, medical progress is keeping us alive longer. So, we're going to face, even if you don't do it for yourself because you think you're older, it's not going to happen to you. If you're 50 years of age, more than likely you got aging parents. You probably should do it for them, and also for yourself, because you're going to be faced with the decision and the stress, which is very, very high, and the expense of taking care of your parents. You know, now you're probably going to have somewhere along the time you're going to have to take your parent to the doctor or to the hospital. They're going to have to be admitted. Now, what's the thing that the hospital wants?
An advance directive, DNR status, medical power. Who's calling the shots?
Yeah, who's calling the shots? They want to protect themselves. So if your aging parent can't sign for himself or herself, well, somebody, before they take responsibility, so they're going to tell you, go get a guardianship. And you just mentioned a name of, thank God for them. You know, so that's very expensive process to go through a guardianship. You need doctor reports, you need lawyers, not only to file for your behalf, but now you got to pay for a lawyer that you didn't contract for, but that the court appointed to act on behalf of your incapacitated parent.
We're gonna take a break, but what's the price tag on that? We're going to take a break in about 30 seconds.
I was going to ask you that.
Let's leave. I would say thousands.
Thousands.
I would say thousands, and it depends on the lawyer. Some of them charge 10, 15, and it's worth it. Some of these estates, you would think just a house and the modest stuff, it adds up. It's 50, 100,000 at stake.
Versus a power of attorney.
Which would have been a few $100.
Exactly.
All right, with that thought, saving money and doing your advance directive and your will and your power of attorney, You are watching, and we're going to be playing this simultaneously on radio and on the internet. Judge Robert Vargas here, Nueces County Judge, right here, County Court at Law #1. And we're going to take a brief break. When we come back, the judge is going to be talking with us more about the importance of Hispanics and everybody else doing their will, getting an advance directive, getting a medical power of attorney. When we come back.
Have you been arrested or are potentially facing criminal charges? You need a trial attorney who is well versed in the courtroom. Joe Flores has handled hundreds of criminal cases and many of them to trial. Joe Flores can provide you with competent representation to protect your constitutional rights in state and federal court. Joe Flores can help if you have been arrested or facing criminal charges. The law offices of Joe Flores. Equal justice for all. Have you or a loved one suffered a stroke, heart attack, unexplained low blood pressure, or death during dialysis? The FDA has issued warnings and recalled the product Granuflo and Naturalite used in dialysis. At least one national company failed to warn the public that over 900 people had suffered cardiac arrest or death. A condition called metabolic alkalosis developed, which may have caused the harm. Call the law offices of Joe Flores today. With a combined 25 years of experience in the medical field and as a trial lawyer, Joe Flores can help. Call now.
Hi, this is attorney and board certified nurse practitioner Joe Flores on behalf of Vasquez Flores Home Health. Nursing homes have their place, but having care in your own home is very important. Call today for more information. Backed by over 20 years of experience, registered nurse Priscilla Vasquez can answer your questions about home care. Call 881-9922. That's 881-9922 today. And we're back after a brief break. Damas y caballeros, aquí estamos aquí en South Texas Crossfire. Gracias por estar con nosotros y también saludamos a todo. It's Hispanic Heritage Month coming up, and we want to thank everybody out there, especially the Lopez family, for making this happen. And with that in mind, I'm honored to bring on one of our Hispanic leaders and a judge, County Court at Law #1, your Judge Robert Vargas. Welcome back, Judge, after the break. Thanks for joining us. Now, this is very important. You gave out some stats just to recap. America is aging. We've got Hispanics, 75% don't do a will, don't do everything for various reasons. And then we left off with the price tag, which could be $500 for a will and power of attorney. Everybody charges a little bit differently, but generally under $1,000, which is you can pay now, as you said, or pay later. And that is tag can be $10,000, $15,000 or more if a will is contested. And I've only had to do a few will contests. Wow, talk about Vietnam and Fallujah combined. But anyway, let's get back to it. You were talking about wills, trust estates. Judge, walk us through the process. That we talked about the inherent need, but also now in your courtroom, they can't get along. Family is fighting. Mom has died. Dad has died. What's going on? What are the mechanics?
Well, let's throw another phenomena in there.
Okay.
The blended family.
Oh boy, you had to bring in the blended family. That's right. Yes. I forgot all about that.
Yes, so we see that a lot more, and it's only natural.
The wicked stepmother, or what, Judge?
Well, what happens is the new family. We're all gonna. It's all about me, right?
Yes.
We all think so. You run into the most recent family versus the family of the prior marriage.
Yes.
And obviously the children feel, hey, that was my parent as well.
Right.
And we loved them, or she loved us. So you gotta prepare for that. You gotta prepare for that. So yeah, if you don't do something like make a will, then the law says all your blood heirs are entitled to a percentage of your possessions. So,
So from the black sheep to the white sheep,
no matter who.
and they would get an equal share if you don't do the will. Ay, caracoles. So,
And who decides who gets the brooch that has been in the family for generations? What if the first family wants it
oh man.
versus the new family?
And you've seen actual, will contests over
Oh, sure. I seen
possessions
it
like that.
within the one family. I seen it. There's always somebody, Joe, where they feel they're more deserving. I stayed in town.
Yeah, right.
I took care of them. Where were you? You were in
Yes.
Houston. You only came in Christmas. And so there's a lot of build-up anger.
I can't tell you how many times that my wife and I go into homes and the caretaker, and I take my hat off to them, those people that are there day in, day out. Somebody falls at the house and they took care of them 364 days, and then they had a bad day where they were tired, they were trying to take a nap, and mom or dad falls, and the other sisters and brothers are like, what happened? He's in the ER. He cut his forehead. You're supposed to be taking care of mom or dad. What's the matter with you? And those people, I can see easily how they would say, why does my brother who left and was selfish and never came to see, my mom or dad, why should they get the house and I get kicked out?
Exactly.
And I mean, that's what the will's for. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh. I mean, you're making me sick just thinking about it. It's so heart-wrenching. And I mean, I can't imagine. You've been up on the bench since you were 33 years old. And having to deal with that, okay, so we've got that backdrop, blended family, full family. Now they come in and they've hired a lawyer, maybe not hired a lawyer, and they come to you.
Well, it depends. If you did a will, which I would always recommend, even if you think you don't need a will, make a will, and decide whatever little you have, decide how you want it to go to whom.
And you need witnesses for the will unless it's
of course,
holographic, which means you handwrote it.
Which is another problem here, and I understand. There's this fear of it being too expensive. Okay, so I'm always asked, well, can I do it from the internet? Some probably could. If you take into consideration that the will that you just drew up was following California law, and you adapted to Texas law, there's no guarantee. People are always trying to save a buck, and I understand, but it's not that expensive of a document, even a will, that you shouldn't go to a local lawyer.
Yeah, most lawyers cost, for the price of a big flat screen TV, for the price of a little getaway on a weekend, you could save that money and put an investment for your whole family for the future.
Yeah.
So when you do have a will, and let's say they did everything right, they got the will on all sixes, what is the process? They come to you with a will to get it probated?
Right. In order, the will, the property immediately upon death takes effect.
Right.
Even without the court. There's so many problems that I've seen. For instance, let me speak of one problem that I see a lot, and it becomes more expensive. They did the will, which is fantastic. The problem is they hit the will, and they hit it so well that nobody can find it.
Oh my gosh.
So, when
Abajo del colchón, right.
What happened? I don't know where. They might
behind the mattress?
Sometimes they may have gone up to the attic or something, or under the house, but because I have...
Or Raul hit it because he wasn't going to get anything. I didn't say that.
So
well, you know.
I mean, children, we can't find a will. So the only thing we've got is a copy.
Oh, here we go.
So now when we've got copies, now it becomes a more expensive process.
Yeah, because that's not the authentic record or the best evidence or whatever.
Yeah.
So
They could,
so what do you say?
They could probably spend $10 and come to the courthouse and record it with the county clerk, and that would take care of that.
And they're so good over there at the probate. They even have a little cajita where you can put a copy for a fee, and they will hold it there for you. Yeah. That way, it doesn't get lost. You can come down here to probate and just stash it, and pay under $10 to stash it. Last time I checked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. So we have the photocopy problems. What other problems? I mean, I need people to know the pitfalls, Judge.
Well, I mean, it's going to cost money, but it costs money in order to protect either
you save the money.
Either to protect your possessions that you saved for and paid for, and that you want to go to the proper people. Everybody's got this fear that they're going to take their house away.
Yeah, and that's a big concern that, like, I refer to a colleague of mine, Michael George. I send them Miller's Trusts, where they, like, a look-back period of 5 years. If they're receiving Medicare benefits or something, they put it in a Miller Trust, the house and everything, or a family member is going to live there. So they get told, no, if you get aid from home health or hospice or whatever, that you're going to lose your house. Had they taken the right steps for a few $100, QLE, they would have not had to worry about it. Get help. If you don't know who to call me, and I'll refer you to the probation attorneys I know, probate attorneys, 887-8670. But you were saying, Judge?
Well, and there's actually a new procedure. Well, it's not a new procedure, but I myself have just learned about it, called the Lady Bird deed, and it's one of the topics that is going to be at my seminar.
As in Lady Bird, LBJ's wife?
Well, it comes across that way, but it had nothing to do with her.
Oh, okay.
But that's how the actual writer or author or creator of this document came to name it. I don't know why. I don't know the historical aspect of it, but it's really a what do you call? I'm struggling here, Joe. A deed.
I'm struggling all the time, Judge. Don't worry about it.
Where you give the life estate but retain the
remainder.
Okay.
The remainder.
It generally, Medicaid will not recognize that. Okay, but because it's not a true conveyance. But in this Lady Bird deed,
like a life estate.
Yes, they keep a life estate. It's very similar. It's the same thing, where the person gives the house, but still retains enough control that they can change their mind and do whatever they want.
Google Lady Bird deed now.
And so that it's being recognized in several jurisdictions that upon death, then technically that property now belongs to whoever they transferred it to.
I don't want to give up the property of the government. No way.
And it won't affect them, because you and I know that there's a 5-year look back.
That's right, 5-year look back period.
That any property that you dispose of just to qualify for Medicaid and nursing home within 5 years, hey, they're going to penalize you.
They're going to come back
and they want you to pay that money. But with this Lady Bird deed, you avoid that.
I mean, the judge is saving you, mira, this, ladies and gentlemen out there. Now he is a lawyer's lawyer. He's going to be teaching lawyers. We got a couple of minutes left. Tell us about the seminar that you are teaching lawyers about.
Well, I'm trying to keep it a basic,
I need that.
The attorney who specializes in this doesn't need to come to my seminar, but it's the attorney that's maybe perhaps has a general practice, or wants to know because they find themselves in that same situation with their aging parents. So we're going to cover everything related to what you're more than likely to run into if you're the average person.
Right.
So we're going to be dealing with what you need on an affidavit heirship or a small estate affidavit, and this may be legal terms for your audience, but those are the ways that people transfer property.
Right.
And I've got title companies coming in to explain, well, this is what we want, so that we'll accept and give you a title policy.
And is there any way that, how long is the seminar going to be?
It's a one-day process.
So one day. You know, we'd love to try to bring it on and maybe get excerpts from it or information, because we can share that with the public. The Lopez family lets us do that. Closing arguments, Judge. I talked way too much. You got the floor. We got a minute before we have to say goodbye in TV land. What would you like to tell the viewers out there?
Well, that to act, if not for yourself, act for your parents, because in the end you'll also have to take care of your parents. And if you're the actual aging person, the senior citizen, if you don't want to put your children under stress, then you should probably take all the steps that I'm talking about. On the other hand, if they cost you a lot of grief and heartaches and headaches, and you want to get back to them, then don't make a will.
Don't make a will. You're right. This is Joe Flores having the honor of bringing on his honor, Robert Vargas, your judge, Nueces County Court at Law number 1. And Judge, thank you so much for coming on and helping, especially the Latino community. That's 95% or more of our viewers. But remember, 75% of y'all out there aren't making a will. Please make it and save you all a lot. And it can even bring you together doing that instrument. And get the power of attorney when you have to go to Spawn or Bay Area, or you have to go to Northwest, whatever hospital around here that you have to go to. Please, it's imperative. Even for home health decisions and hospice decisions, we are asking y'all to please give it some thought. If you don't know a probate attorney, call the Bar Association here in town, Corpus Christi Bar Association. You can also get online and go to LRIS, which is the Legal Referral Service for the State Bar of Texas. You can call me at the office and I can make you a referral of people that I've heard that are tried and true, 887-8670, or visit floreslawfirm.com. But again, Judge Robert Vargas, thank you for coming on, Judge.
Thank you.
All right, and we're going to bring him on some more and this continuing series, because as we age, we need to make these decisions. It's not going to go away, and we can't put our head in the sand. So this is Joe Flores signing off, reminding you guys, please get a will. And that's from Judge, you heard it, Robert Vargas, County Court at Law number 1. Thank you, Judge.